Hello, my name's Harvey Payne. I'm the Community Relations Coordinator for the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve. Been in that role since 2008. Before that, I was the Preserve Director from 1990 until 2008. This fall, in November, it marks the 30th anniversary of the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve. The original purchase was just over 29,000 acres. That was from the Barnard family. They owned the Barnard portion of the historic Barnard Ranch, and that deal was made in November of 1989. Pretty amazing that it ever happened. A lot of people didn't think we would ever get to see something like this. And to now have a 40,000 acre preserve with a bison herd of 26 to 2,700 animals, and to have basically restored a functioning tallgrass prairie preserve ecosystem that became extinct.
2 weeks on the job, when I moved here to Oklahoma, was when we had a state board meeting in Oklahoma City. And Frederick Drummond got up and said, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if it's going to happen, it's going to have to be private, it's going to have to be the Nature Conservancy, and we better get moving because the opportunities, those windows are going to close.
All of it just kind of involved as to how the Nature Conservancy, and particularly the tallgrass, developed. It was a small group that decided that, and of course Joe Williams, who was the chairman of not only the Conservancy in Oklahoma, but was on the board of directors and past chairman of Williams Companies. This was the largest scale project that they had nationwide. They had 160 acres here, 240 there, or something there, but they never had anything of any size. And they said, we can't do anything without an endowment. And they named, that was a $5 million endowment that they needed. Well, between Joe Williams and his Williams Companies and Frank McPherson with Kerr McGee, he was the chairman. That's where the big money came from.
We call this the Joseph H. Williams Tallgrass Prairie Preserve. We named it after Joe Williams' honor a couple of years ago. And the reason we did that is because without Joe Williams, we would not have a Tallgrass Prairie Preserve. Joe was the chairman of the Oklahoma chapter, so he had the influence to talk people into doing this. And Joe realized how important this was, and I heard him say, we cannot not do the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve.
Today, bison have made somewhat of a comeback, and this week, a herd of 300 was released onto a Tallgrass Prairie Preserve in Oklahoma.
The release itself didn't take long. When you open the gate for a herd of bison, they don't stop to ask many questions. But it's hoped the effects of the release will last for generations.
We should rejoice in the knowledge that the great-grandchildren of these children here will experience what our great-grandparents experienced out here.
So what we've done here in the last 30 years is put the ecological influences of bison grazing back with the climate and with prescribed fire at different seasons that mimics the seasonality of fires that shaped this prairie over the last 10 or 12,000 years. People that come here, if they can see a bison or a buffalo, they're happy. If they can see one in the middle of the road, they're ecstatic. But the preserve is so much more than that. We have about 250 bird species here. We get a number of neotropical migrants passing through here. Some stay and nest and some move farther north. This place is a real refuge for migrating birds.
All right, so this is a beetle trap. So what we're doing is looking at the distribution of American burying beetles across the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve.
The importance of preserving places like this is not just this place, but it also has a global impact. And so what I strive to do in my research is to show in a very applied way how maintaining biodiversity and conserving ecosystems such as this actually pays off in the end, so that we have carbon sequestration and energy held within our trophic structure that keeps our environment stable.
The reason the Nature Conservancy is here is because of the biological diversity, because of the opportunity to try to restore this lost landscape. So it's just a tremendous challenge and opportunity conservation-wise. But it's also a tremendous research facility, or a research opportunity. If you are a grassland ecologist and you want to study the Great Plains, specifically the Tallgrass Prairie ecosystem, if you're interested in how that system used to operate and how that affected plants and animals and the soil and everything else, this is the place to come.
Most landowners or private landowners are reluctant to let a bunch of kids run around out there and dig holes or look at grasses or anything like that. So, and as the Nature Conservancy is a science-driven organization, you know, we have to work and give those guys the opportunities to learn that stuff. Teach us that stuff you learn also. It helps us in our management strategies.
But in terms of productivity, wow, you know, you cannot beat the Tallgrass Prairie in terms of productivity. It's nature's feedlot.
It's changed through the years from what the cowboys stayed in when it was the Barnard Ranch.
Beyond that is where the cowboys slept, and they had doors from the outside that came in there.
And I think what has helped us is being science-driven, because therefore we don't just tell someone something, we have the facts behind us, you know, we go out and we try it and see what works, you know, and then I think that has helped. I think we have a real good rapport with all of the neighbors. And since we've had an influx of visitors, we've reached out through this visitor center and touched many people and introduced them to what the Nature Conservancy is, not just what the Tallgrass Prairie is.
Well, just keeping the country open. 'Cause I'm from a cattle background. My dad's got a ranch, and that's how you make your living. So, got to take care of your country.
It's been a lot of changes, but it's been good. I like working outside, and I enjoy working with animals, and you know.
As far as the buffalo working, when we were chasing them on foot, we had some turn around on us, and I went up the fence, and the hammer loop on my Carhartts, bull hooked it and jerked my leg back, but luckily he didn't jerk me plumb off, broke that hammer. And everybody, I got back up there and said, "I've never seen you move that fast, big boy." And I said, "I never had nothing that big after me before." So, you know, it's all in motivation.
I remember the deed ceremony when the Nature Conservancy took title, and Mary Barnard Lawrence, Mr. Barnard's daughter, was there to present the deed to the Nature Conservancy. I was not affiliated with them at that time. And she told how proud their family was to pass ownership of this land that to them was sacred land. It was very important to their family. And to pass that ownership to the Nature Conservancy and see this land loved and protected like her family had done since 1915, that tugged at your heartstrings. So that was very significant.
So it's a broad spectrum of this environment, that this part of the world, just for people to know that it's still here thanks to the help of the Nature Conservancy.
What I find fulfilling about this place and the way the Nature Conservancy goes about business is a long-term perspective. Lasting, tangible results is one of the bylines we use. And so, you know, what's going to be here decades ahead. And so that's something I find very comforting about this place is knowing that it's going to be here, knowing that it's going to be managed to benefit our native wildlife and our plants and animals and everything. And just being a part of that legacy is just, yeah, it's been the highlight of my career.